Hello Cub Scouts of the Woodbury Pack. I'm Staff Sergeant Ben Howcooper here in Basra, Iraq with the 34th Red Bull Infantry Division, and I have myself and other soldiers that are ready to answer your questions. You asked, where are we located? Well, we're at Contingency Operating Base Basra. Really, it's Camp Basra. And that is on the lower portion of Iraq, right by the ocean.
Hi, I'm Specialist Daniel Sullivan. I was in the Cub Scouts for 2 years in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and you guys were wondering, what are your duties each day? Well, I'm a broadcast journalist for the 367 MPAD, and so far sounds like I'm going to be the editor for our newscast, along with doing podcasts and talking to chaplains and doing live interviews such as this. And aside from that, I chill.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Brian Rayleigh, and I'm here in beautiful Basra, Iraq, but I was a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout for about 7 years as a child in Benton, Arkansas. You asked if I've ever seen some of the new remote control military aircraft here in Iraq, and as a matter of fact, I have. We have what is called the Predator drone, and that is an unmanned aerial vehicle that flies in the sky via remote control through satellites, and it does reconnaissance and it takes out bad guys.
Hi, my name is Major Mark Martin, and your question was, how old am I? Well, I'm 49 years old, but the ages of soldiers that are here are between 17 and probably in their mid-50s or maybe a little bit older with some of our senior guys. But the average age is for the 34th Infantry Division is about 35 years old.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Benjamin Kibbe. I was in the Boy Scouts for about 3 years in Marion, Ohio. I'm currently here in Basra, Iraq. I work as a print journalist and an editor, and I go out with the soldiers, do stories, that kind of thing. One of the questions you asked was how often do we get to talk to our moms? Really, that depends. Where we are here, we're actually pretty lucky. We have phone tents. We have a number of different ways that we can communicate back home. Really, I can talk to my mom just about as often as I want around my work schedule. Other people a little further out, they might have to wait a little longer, but really communications are pretty good.
Hi, I'm Major Mark Balcom. I was a Cub Scout as well as a Boy Scout from Marietta, Georgia, and I'm going to answer the question about what happens when we get sick. Well, when we get sick, we send someone to sick call, and that is over at the hospital, and they get checked out by doctors, and sometimes they get put on quarters, meaning they get to stay in their room until they get feeling better.
Hi, I'm Specialist John Angelo. I'm a military broadcaster. I used to be a Boy Scout, a Cub Scout, and a Webelo in St. Louis, Missouri. One thing that you guys asked about is the terrain. Well, here in Iraq, we have all types of terrain. We have mountains up north, we have lots of desert, of course, and we also have the ocean. It's very close to where we're at right now. The weather is kind of like the weather back home, except for it does get really, really hot. It's about 135 degrees during the summer, but then at night, up in the north, it does freeze.
Hey, I'm Sergeant Jungles from Wayzata, Minnesota. Here you guys have some questions for us. I wanted to answer a few. You asked what language is spoken here, and do we understand it? The answer to that is Arabic is spoken here. And no, I don't understand a lick of Arabic, but that's why we have translators and interpreters to help us out.
Your question was, have you ever thrown a grenade? My answer is, why, yes, I have, and it's fun.
You asked the question if I've been in any major battles. The answer is yes. Not this deployment in Iraq. This place has calmed down quite a bit. But in my first deployment in Afghanistan, I did see some battle, but everything went well. I'm fine, and I'm ready to come home again.
You asked have I had training to shoot a machine gun. Actually, one of the things that they've been doing is getting everybody familiarization with all the different weapon systems. So I've gotten the chance to shoot some of our smaller weapons, what we call the M249 Bravo. You might hear it called a SAW for Squad Automatic Weapon. That was enjoyable, but the most fun was the M2, which is a 50 caliber machine gun, and that's a big boy, and it's a lot of fun to shoot.
Your question was, do soldiers carry around IDs? And yes, they do. We have military ID cards, but we really don't even need them because our names are right in our uniforms.
Your question was, what do you miss most about the U.S.? My answer would be, I miss being able to go out and shoot pool, my freedom to ride around wherever I wanted to, and especially my family and friends back home.
You asked the question, what do you sleep on? We're actually pretty fortunate here. We get bunks with actual beds on them. Some guys, as you're transitioning, you might not be that lucky or whatnot. Yeah, people sleep on cots. They're actually very similar to the ones you get in Boy Scouts. In fact, a lot of our gear is. And those are actually remarkably comfortable at times, especially if you've gotten used to sleeping on the ground for a while. But really, it depends on where you are. I've slept on the ground for a month or 2 or 3 in past deployments, but right now, conditions are pretty nice.
Your question was, what kind of training do we get in Iraq? And we get a lot of training in Iraq. One of the most recent things that I've got to do is called an MRAP rollover. They'll put us in a big box that looks like the vehicle, and then they'll spin us and spin us and spin us, so we know how to stay safe in case the vehicle rolls over.
Hey, your question was, what type of animals do we see in Iraq? And the answer to that question is dogs. We see dogs all over the place. They're like squirrels over here.
I'm going to answer 2 questions at one time. You asked me what I liked most and least about being in Iraq. Well, the thing that I like most about being in Iraq is I'm very proud of what I do coming out to serve our country, and it gives me a lot of pride every day to be able to come into work and know that I'm serving you guys back home. What I like least about being out here, aside from being away from family and friends back home, is really how hot and dusty it is out here. The dust is everywhere and it gets into everything, including right here. So on a general day-to-day basis, oh, and the flies, they are absurd out here. They dive bomb you, you can't kill them. It's like they're armored or something. I don't know, but that's what I like least about being in Iraq.
Hey, your question was, how do we get mail? And my answer to that is either through the post office, we get big old boxes and packages, or on the computer.
Hi, your question was, what's it like here in Iraq? Well, I can tell you the weather. It's always hot, it's always sunny. Very rarely does it rain. Even in November and December, the time period now, the highs get up into the 90s, and it's very, very hot and dusty.
Your question was, what language is spoken here? Well, the locals here speak Arabic, and I've picked up a few things along the way. Like if you wanted to say thank you, you'd say shukran. You're welcome would be afwan. To say hello, you say either marhaban or assalamu alaikum, to which they would reply alaikum salam. That's basically God be with you and also with you. And it's just one of their friendly ways of saying hello.